Everybody was enthusiastic about it, Germany, everybody. And Spain didn't do it. And now Spain actually said that we can't use their bases, and that's all right. We could use their base if we want. We could just fly in and use it. Nobody's going to tell us not to use it, but we don't have to. But they were unfriendly, and so I told him we don't want to. Spain has absolutely nothing that we need other than great people. They have great people, but they don't have great leadership. And as you know, they were the only country that in NATO would not agree to go up to 5%. I don't think they would have agreed to go up to anything. They wanted to keep it at 2%, and they don't pay the 2%. So we're going to cut off all trade with Spain. We don't want anything to do with Spain.
משום שידענו מה מוטל על הכף. אבל אם הייתי אומר לכם לפני שנה שהטייסים והטייסות שלנו יטוסו באיראן, מי היה מאמין? ואם הייתי אומר לכם לפני שנה שארצות הברית של אמריקה, המעצמה החזקה בעולם, תילחם לצידנו כתף אל כתף, כנף אל כנף, במשך קרוב ל-40 יום נגד האויב המשותף, מי היה מאמין? אבל כל זה קרה כי אנחנו יזמנו, אנחנו פעלנו, אנחנו תקפנו.
Right now we are in at Naja's High Sierra Desert Oasis, and these are the gas prices here. No joke.
Now for 21 hours, and we've had a number of substantive discussions with the Iranians. That's the good news. The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement, and I think that's bad news for Iran much more than it's bad news for the United States of America. So we go back to the United States having not come to an agreement. We've made very clear what our red lines are, what things we're willing to accommodate them on, and what things we're not willing to accommodate them on. And we've made that as clear as we possibly could, and they have chosen not to accept.
Well, I haven't fallen out with him. I mean, I've known him for decades. I've always liked him. And I think anyone who spent time with him likes him. I feel sorry for him, as I do for all slaves. He is not free in this moment at all to do what he thinks is best for himself or his country.
What do you mean?
No, he's not free. And we learned that yesterday when Donald Trump announced a ceasefire, clearly with relief, and made its terms, or most of its terms, public. And then that ceasefire ended within 2 hours because Israel intentionally violated the terms by attacking not just southern Lebanon, but the city of Beirut.
So are you saying he's a slave to Benjamin Netanyahu?
I don't think it's as simple as he's under the control of Netanyahu. But, you know, you could summarize it that way and you wouldn't be totally inaccurate.
All praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Kodesh. I want to give double honor to my apostles and elders that came before me that brought me into this truth. This video is going to be called Esau's Pride. It was going to make him fall, as well as current events. Okay, so we're going to go into this now. Now, obviously, you have Donald Trump here, and there's a news story that's broken out about him, you know, going at the Pope, as well as posting a Truth Social post depicting him as who the world knows as White Jesus. Okay. So let's go into Proverbs 16 and 18 here. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 16 and verse 18. Pride goeth before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall. And Esau is completely immersed in his pride, and that's what's going to occur prior to his destruction. It's only going to lead to his destruction. He thinks that nobody can touch him. He's greater than everybody else. There's not any entity that's going to be able to stop him or topple his regime or his government, whatever you want to call it. But the Heavenly Father is going to use that pride to build him up and set him down. Okay, let's go to Anna Kasparian. I believe that's how I pronounce her name, Anna Kasparian. And obviously, yes, again, fair use. Fair use. This video is for educational purposes only. I will not be gaining any monetary compensation for this whatsoever. Again, fair use.
The outrage that Trump sparked as a result of his attacks on Pope Leo, he decided to further double down, and well, you're about to find out.
Great transformation requires great sacrifice. And Mr. President, no one has paid the price like you have paid the price. It almost cost you your life. You were betrayed and arrested and falsely accused. It's a familiar pattern that our Lord and Savior showed us. But it didn't end there for him, and it didn't end there for you.
Paula Kane's comparison of President Donald Trump to Jesus apparently really hit home for the president. He really liked that. Because after Trump launched a pretty vicious attack on Pope Leo, meaning the leader of the Catholic Church, of course, he posted this image on Truth Social. Let's take a quick look. It's an AI image of President Trump depicted as Jesus Christ. It looks like he's blessing or healing an older gentleman who kind of looks like Jeffrey Epstein.
Pause. All right. So I'm not gonna front. This is pretty funny. I can't even lie. This is almost hilarious. So we're gonna pause right here real quick. Right here. Right where this woman is speaking and hailing Trump for his quote unquote sacrifices that he's made for the country. If my network, here we go. So if you can see here, I don't even need to zoom in. It's so apparent and obvious. You have an eagle, a golden eagle, quite literally an idol, right in front of this woman here. That's hailing Donald Trump as being likened unto who the world calls Jesus, white Jesus, right? That's the pride and really the foolish nature of these Edomites running their mouth as if they know everything, they're better than everybody. There's not anything that's going to be able to stop them. Even a shot to the ear of Donald Trump. There's nothing that's going to be able to stop them. Okay, but that just leans towards their naivety and their ignorance, their foolishness, right? Running their mouth with the whole entire idol right in front of them. Let's continue here so we can take a look at this photograph.
But it didn't end.
He posted this image. President Trump.
Boom. All right, you got Trump here. Again, this is just too freaking funny, man. This is too funny. We're not even gonna get into this. I really don't even see anything here. I mean, what? I mean, come on.
As Jesus Christ, it looks like he's blessing or healing an older gentleman who kind of looks like Jeffrey Epstein. Now, Cenk, before we get to the amazing responses to this image, what do you make of this?
Yeah, so there's a couple things here. First of all, to be fair to Trump, he's kind of flummoxed by it because he's used to people comparing him to Jesus and he thinks that's normal.
True.
And so he just compared himself to Jesus and the Lord.
Right. So, obviously, again, Donald Trump, he's puffed up with pride. Okay? And that's okay. No big deal. That's just Esau doing what he does. Right? Now, what we want to do here is go to the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? You see that one? So again, Esau, Donald Trump, with the assistance of AI, whatever program he used, depicted himself as who the world calls Jesus Christ, right? White Jesus. Okay, let's go to 1 Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 48. We'll start at verse 47. Then they fasted that day and put on sackcloth and cast ashes upon their heads and rent their clothes and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. You see that one? So in this scenario here, it's nothing different. Again, white Jesus, Esau doing whatever he does, and that's okay, no big deal. But nonetheless, we want to go into some more news here. We want to go to some more news articles. Let's go to countries. What is it called? Turning to 4-day work weeks. Yeah. I already had an article, Newsweek. Week. Yep, this is from list of countries. Okay, this is good. Yep, this is good here. All right, let me close this out here. Okay, so this is Newsweek. Slovakia. List of countries turning to 4-day weeks as oil crisis bites. All right, let's see what he's talking about here.
We're $4, yeah.
Gas prices today they hit $4.
We're $4, yeah, and we have a country that's not going to be throwing a nuclear weapon at us in 6 months.
But Americans are feeling the effects in the interim.
And they're also feeling a lot safer.
What is the plan to bring them back down?
All I have to do is leave Iran, and we'll be doing that very soon. And they'll become tumbling down. And stock prices were up today almost to a record because they know two things. Number one, we have a safe country. We had to take a little detour because we had a madman named Khomeini who sadly is no longer.
Oh man, that is wild, dog. I wish it would have finished, but nonetheless, bro, this guy Donald Trump is running his mouth, saying that the American people feel a lot safer, and that's okay. That's wonderful. That's good to hear. Now let's go into this here. Again, this is going into, gas prices rising. Let's look at this. The Iran war is causing some countries to shift to 4-day work weeks and embrace remote work as they try to alleviate the energy crisis unleashed by the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. It is a revolution that can only be compared to that forced by pandemic-era lockdowns between 2020 and 2022, when millions of people were suddenly discouraged from heading to their workplace. But while a few years ago it was a deadly virus which turbocharged change, this time it is a soaring price of oil as a result of the conflict in the Middle East, which is compelling governments to take action, especially in those regions that rely the most on oil from the Gulf. All right? Let's continue here. Why it matters. Since the start of the conflict on February 28th, crude oil prices have climbed above $100 per barrel. This week, Brent crude oil, the global benchmark, briefly hit $119 per barrel, close to its highest since the start of the war. The rise is closely linked to the chokehold that Iran has imposed on the crucial Strait of Hormuz, where 1/5 of the world's oil normally transits. Over the past month, things could get worse as the last shipments to have left the Strait of Hormuz before the war started are expected to arrive at their destinations in the coming days. So, time is winding down, where these oil depletements, what do you want to call them? The amount of oil that's being strained due to the amount of oil that's being exported out of the Strait of Hormuz. We're going to be seeing some energy halts. Okay, some slowdowns of this energy moving back and forth throughout the world. Okay. I don't even think. Yeah, okay, here. Pakistan. In Pakistan, the government has asked 50% of its staff to work from home on a rotating basis. The country's Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif, recommended private businesses implement the same arrangements. The entire region is currently in a state of war, Sharif said. So that's Pakistan. 1. Philippines. Soaring oil prices have forced the Philippines, which import 98% of its oil, 98% of its oil from the Gulf, to declare a national emergency and introduced several measures trying to save fuel and relieve residents. Local governments in the country have shifted to 4-day work weeks to conserve energy and minimize commuting, asking staff to limit travel to essential functions only. You see that one? So only essential functions only are you supposed to be commuting. All right. Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, which imports 60% of all its energy needs and heavily relies on the Strait of Hormuz, also moved to a 4-day work week in mid-March and declared Wednesday a holiday for most public institutions in an attempt to slash petrol use, petrol use. All state universities, including schools and universities, are now a 4-day work week, while essential services like hospitals remain open according to the previous schedules. Private institutions have also been invited to shift to a 4-day work week. The country has also introduced a ration system for petrol similar to what it did in 2022. Let's read that again. Private institutions have also been invited to shift to a 4-day work week, so the government has asked these private businesses to move towards a 4-day work week. Not only that, the country has also introduced a rotation system for petrol similar to what it did in 2022. So this energy is being rationed at this point. All right. Look at this here. The country's turning to remote work returns as energy saving tool. So you have Egypt, we're not going to read all of this, Thailand, Vietnam, these are 3, the UK. Wow. So I don't really think there's anything else here. Now we do want to go to another story here. Cuba. Cuba ventilators. The New York Times. Yep, this is what I want. Yep, here we go. Cuban patients are dying because of U.S. blockade, doctors say. Let's look here. This is from March 26th of this year. As a nationwide blackout in Cuba stretched into a second day this past week, the stakes were rising for George Perez Alvarez. The 21-year-old suffers from a genetic disease preventing his lungs from pumping air on their own. He needs a ventilator at all times to keep breathing. His ventilator's backup battery is supposed to last more than a day, but that has been tested repeatedly in recent weeks, including 3 nationwide outages that each pushed up against its limits. And with the power out for hours every day, there is hardly enough time to recharge it. I don't know how long we can keep going, said his mother, Xena Alvarez, standing near her son's crumpled body in his bedroom in a poor neighborhood of Havana. His life depends on electricity. The U.S. oil blockade on Cuba is fast exhausting the country's supply of fuel, causing daily blackouts, food shortages, canceled classes, and black market gas prices approaching $40 a gallon. It is also crippling Cuba's universal health care system, a state institution once considered a triumph for a poor nation, but is now struggling to provide basic care. You see that one? So you have a humanitarian crisis occurring out in Cuba. I've spoken on this before about a month ago concerning these blackouts whenever they occur. Then you have to have nurses, doctors manually pumping air or manually basically being a human ventilator system for the people that can't breathe, right? For that delay or that period of time, that window, whether it be 3 to 5 minutes. Can you imagine, being a human ventilator, pumping air into somebody's lungs for 3 to 5 minutes? Can you imagine that? That's freaking horrifying. Okay. Nonetheless, I wanted to go to a few more points here. Let me see if we can find anything else. There was something that I wanted to pull. What was it? Spain, U.S. relations. Yeah, hold on, I don't care, bro. U.S. relations, Spain. Oh, I really needed. Is that it? No. I mean, it bears me just a moment. Because there was one in the country in particular. Get out of here, bro. I don't care about that. What do we got here? Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah. So, let's go to it here. Trump raids Hormuz blockade. Here it is. Let's do this here. What is this? The Wall Street Journal? I don't even know if I'll be able to read this entire thing. No, I'm not going to be able to. There's a workaround that. Dang it, man. Let me see here. Can you with work or school? Duh, I ain't got time for that. Shoot, I need to find that workaround. Let's just go to Fox News. Trump issued naval blockade of Iranian ports in Strait of Hormuz. In Strait of Hormuz begins. So let's look at here. What to know? President Donald Trump ordered the U.S. Navy to blockade Iran's ports in the Strait of Hormuz beginning Monday. Peace talks between the U.S. and Iran collapsed this weekend, with Vice President J.D. Vance departing Pakistan empty-handed. Iran has condemned the U.S. blockade plans. Iran condemned the U.S. blockade plans as piracy and vowed to respond with decisive force, potentially ending a fragile ceasefire with the U.S. So, clearly, J.D. Vance. Matter of fact, let's go to it here. J.D. Vance. Iran negotiations. X. Let's go to X here. I think that'll be even better. Yeah, here we go.
Well, good morning, everybody. And let me say a couple of notes of appreciation. First of all, to the Prime Minister of Pakistan and to Field Marshal Munir, who were both incredible hosts. And whatever shortcomings in the negotiation, it wasn't because of the Pakistanis, who did an amazing job and really tried to help us and the Iranians bridge the gap and get to a deal. We have been at it now for 21 hours, and we've had a number of substantive discussions with the Iranians. That's the good news. The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement. And I think that's bad news for Iran, much more than it's bad news for the United States of America. So we go back to the United States having not come to an agreement. We've made very clear what our red lines are, what things we're willing to accommodate them on, and what things we're not willing to accommodate them on. And we've made that as clear as we possibly could. And they have chosen not to accept our terms. Questions?
There's nothing else to talk about. He went there on a failed mission, attempting to bully Iran into, I don't know what you want to call it, an end to the war, right? And it failed. That's all there is to it. So what does Trump plan on doing? What do we got here? What do we got here? I want to see if we can find any quotes from Trump. But basically, Donald Trump is planning to block the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. So not only will U.S. allies not be able to go back and forth to import and export oil through the Strait of Hormuz, but also they will not be able. But also Iran's allies, as well as Iran, is not going to be able to do trade using the Strait of Hormuz, right? So they said basically, we're not. Iran said that we're not going to let any of your allies through. Get over it. We have some. We can negotiate over this. We don't trust you, but we can try to come to a conclusion. We can try to make a deal. The U.S. said, what we're going to do is this. You're going to open up the Strait of Hormuz. You're not going to charge that $2 million tax or that $2 million fee. And we're going to move through it as much as we please. Okay, and Iran said, hell no, we're not doing that. That's not going down. So the U.S., Donald Trump, stated, okay, if you want to do that, okay, that's fine. You don't want to allow us to go through the strait. That's okay. Now we're going to stop any one of your allies from going through the strait. Okay. So again, to keep in mind, 20% of the 20% of the world's global oil production goes through that strait. Okay, so keep that in mind. So a fifth of the world's oil supply is going to take a gigantic hit. All right, as we saw earlier, causing hits to the global supply. Okay, now let's go here. Now, again, this is all due to the pride of Esau. Let's go to it. Ecclesiasticus 10, if I can find it here. Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, verse 2. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. So as prideful as Donald Trump is, Esau is in this case, is just as prideful as your average so-called American, your average Edomite, even you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, you Israelites that hold on to Babylon the Great so much. You can't stand but to love Esau, Edom's kingdom, the United States of America. Again, Babylon the Great is going to be destroyed in the same way that pride is deeply embedded into Esau's psyche. Their pride is taking hold of you too. All right, let's go to Sirach chapter 14 and verse 5. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods. As simple as that, man. So again, Esau can't do good to himself. And how can we tell that? Because all that he's doing is, digging a pit or a hole for himself. Eventually going to land him in jail by starting this illegal war. Not only that, if he's evil to himself, and I'm talking about Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu and other characters like that, if he's evil to himself, why the heck would you think that he's going to be good to his own constituents, his own citizens, right? I don't think that it would be wise to, fall behind a leader like that. Let's go to Revelation chapter, 2. Revelation 2. Revelation chapter 2 and verse 12. And the angel of the church in Pergamos write, these things saith he which hath the sharp sword with two edges. Who is that? Yahushua. I know thy works, and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is, and thou holdest fast my name, and hast not denied my faith, even in those days where Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you where Satan dwelleth. And where does Satan dwell? Babylon the Great, Esau, Edom, the Neo-Roman Empire. Verse 14, but I have a few things against thee, because thou hast them that hold the doctrine of Baalim, who taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed unto idols, and to commit fornication. You see that? And that's the spirit of Esau, Edom, the spirit of Babylon the Great, to commit fornication and to eat things that are sacrificed unto idols. You see that? And that's what's happening right now. That's the vibration of the movement throughout Esau, Edom, or throughout the land of Esau, Babylon the Great. Let's go to 2nd Esdras. We're going to cap this off. chapter 5 and verse 16. And in the second night it came to pass that Salathiel, the captain of the people, came unto me, saying, Where hast thou been, and why is thy countenance so heavy? Knowest thou not that Israel is committed unto thee in the land of their captivity? It is of the utmost importance to understand that Babylon is the home of the evil. The pride of Esau is leading to his destruction. I don't think it's hard to comprehend. Let's go to Proverbs 6 and 16 real quick. These 6 things doth Yahweh hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, a what a proud look, a what a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. And of course, in a worldly sense, you could say those Iranians were innocent. In actuality, they're not. They serve other gods. Those men, those Iranians are going to be destroyed as long as they, they're going to be destroyed and or subjugated. Okay? It's that simple. But Esau's just doing his thing right now. And of course, he's murdering innocent people. Okay? You can have Israelites among those Iranians, those Persians over there, okay? Whatever the case may be, let's continue. Verse 17, a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief. And that's Esau. He can't get his hands off of mischief, right? A false witness that speaketh the lies, and he that soweth the discord among brethren, right? And Esau, Edom is sowing discord among brethren. Who is that talking about? That's talking about those Gulf countries, right? Ishmael, the Persians, whomever it may be, sowing discord among them. Okay, let's go to Obadiah 1 and 14. Or Salakia 1 and 4. Sorry, 1 and 1. Obadiah chapter 1, verse 1. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Adawan Yahweh concerning Edom. Concerning who? Concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, Who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Yahweh. The Heavenly Father is going to bring Esau, Edom, down. How beautiful is that going to be? Okay, and that's all that we're waiting on. We're just waiting on the Heavenly Father to bring Esau down. We're just waiting on him to bring down his pride. Okay, and that's exactly what's happening by the way of these different debacles, these horrible strategies. Again, we're going to double close the Strait of Hormuz. That's the way Esau's operating right now. But Lord willing, this is edifying. Just a quick lesson to go over some recent events, some updates on the news. Nonetheless, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushua, Bahasham, Mukharkadash. I want to give double honor to my apostles and elders that came before me that brought me into this truth. This has been Esau's pride will lead to his fall. Until next time, for you brothers that are putting in the work, shalom to you. The hopeful elect continue. And the one for watching the video. Again, until next time, I say shalom.